Cheap split seconds chrono versus expensive. Very bold and controversial statement, I know. Hear me out. This video is really to showcase the amount of value you can get for a fraction of the price. Today we've got a very interesting comparison between the Breitling Duograph and the Patek Philippe 5370p. To give some context why I consider the Breitling inexpensive compared to the Patek Philippe, we have to look at the retail prices. Keep in mind, technically both feature the same complication, a split seconds or rattrapante in French. The Breitling comes in at a retail price of $10,250, the so-called cheap watch that I called. But when you look at the Patek Philippe, well, it is around $249,200, about $250,000. So yes, for us mere mortals, the Breitling is very expensive. But when compared to the 5370, the price probably doesn't even cover the taxes for the Patek Philippe. The only way we could do this comparison is by looking at each watch on their own. The Breitling Duograph is a chronograph I consider to be the best value chronograph in the market right now in 2021. While retail is over $10,000, you could easily find this watch for around the $7,000 to $8,000 range, just a tad over the standard Speedmaster. The watch features a 42mm stainless steel case with a thickness of 15.8mm, both very important for this comparison. The blue dial is absolutely exceptional. I believe blue is the hardest color to get right, and Breitling did an exceptional job. I put it next to the Chronometer Blue, which is considered to be the best blue dial in the industry. I'll let you look at it and you can decide. Now, the movement powering the Breitling is the B15 caliber. No hand finishing whatsoever, but it is a beautiful movement nonetheless. It is only when you look closer you'll start to see the machine finishing as opposed to hand finishing. That doesn't take away from the movement, as it is a COSC certified caliber, and it allows us to have a split seconds for under $10,000. Now, before moving on to the Patek Philippe 5370, I did want to give you guys a crash course on how to even utilize a split seconds. Now, both these watches are exactly the same. The reason I say that is when looking at the Alanganzuna double split, for example, it operates a little bit differently. However, with both these watches, it's actually exactly the same. You utilize the chronograph exactly how you would any other chronograph, but you operate the split seconds through the crown. There's a pusher on the crown. As soon as you operate it, you can utilize the split seconds. A split seconds is basically used to time two things at the same time. Relatively useless in the grand scheme of things, but if you like fiddling with your mechanical watches, the split seconds is one of the most desirable complications out there. In fact, a split seconds is actually more complicated to produce than a regular tourbillon. Now let's take a look at the 5370p. It's important to note the Duograph is readily available and you can order it straight from the site. The 5370p on the other hand is an exclusive piece that you could have only gotten if you are a preferred Patek Philippe client. So, exclusivity is a factor in the price. The 5370 also features a platinum case as opposed to the stainless steel of the Duograph. Another big difference. The 5370 features a black enamel dial. This is very hard to produce and has a very high throwout rate. The 5370 is also smaller and slimmer, which is a big factor when creating a complicated watch, coming in at 41mm by 13mm thick. On the surface, it's only a 2mm difference, but for a split seconds chrono, this is actually very impressive. Now, the movement is where Patek Philippe is superior without a doubt. I mean, for the price, it better be, right? This movement is the caliber CHR 29535. Truly one of Patek's greatest movements, and quite frankly, movements like this is the reason why Patek is still part of the top 3 in the world. The architecture is simply amazing, and unlike the Breitling, of course this has full hand finishing, not machined. Now, under the loupe, you can see a major difference between hand finishing and machine finished. Machine finished doesn't look nearly as good as hand finishing, not to mention it just adds that human touch that us collectors we tend to prefer. Now this watch also features a decoupler system so that the split seconds hand, when it's frozen, the mechanism won't be dragging. In most cases, without the decoupler system, the mechanism is dragging, therefore slowing down the movement. This expensive mechanism used by the likes of Patek Philippe and Alanganzuna is used to make sure that the watch doesn't lose amplitude. Look, I get it. You're probably thinking, hey, what's up with this comparison? For people who are looking for a Breitling, they probably aren't looking for the 5370. However, if you look at the grand scheme of things, what I was trying to showcase here is the amount of value you get with the Breitling at the price point. I feel like a lot of people saw the Breitling release and immediately thought they're either kind of copying Alanganzuna or it was just another release. For me, from my perspective, the Duograph is one of the best value chronographs at the moment. The fact you can get it for under $8,000 is actually ridiculous. If you care about having a complication, a split seconds complication, the Breitling is the obvious choice. Now, of course, when it comes to the price of the Patek Philippe, there's three factors we need to consider. Exclusivity. A lot of people put a lot of money in terms of exclusivity. Just look at the Paul Newman Daytona selling for $17.8 million at auction. And of course, you get a platinum case and the movement is far superior. Overall, this video was to showcase how much value you could get from the Breitling and what exactly you get from the Patek Philippe at $250,000. Guys, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.